So, I've called the police for 2 months, but now my hair is not even the same texture. I don't look the same. And thank God there's no filter anymore. I thank God for that because I'm not supposed to be made to look like somebody else. But I thank the people who removed the filter. The problem is that people have had to say a lot of things to hide their spirit of competition and envy. Because the Bible makes us wise, it tells us everything because it strips all bias and tells you the inner motivation for people's actions. The Bible doesn't talk about bias. It talks about inner motivations. So it tells you to stay clear of coveting, the spirit of competition, envy, strife, division, insults. Envy, division, jealousy, insults, coveting, the spirit of competition, wars. It tells you why people go to war, the inner motivation for it. It doesn't talk about bias because Jehovah God knows better. He talks about the inner motivations. You have places like Tulsa, you have Nazi Germany, the Holocaust, you have slavery of the Israelites, sweatshops, human trafficking. All are due to wicked, imperfect motivations. Why? Because the Bible tells us what the motivations are. Because Jehovah is not going to sit down and talk to you for hours and days and a lifetime to convince you that racism is wrong. Some people try to reason with people who say they're racist, but why don't you like these people? But why are you hurting me because of my color? Why are you hurting us because of the color? Why are you being unjust? Why are you discriminating? Why are you being unfair? But people are making themselves stubborn. So the Bible, Jehovah will never waste his time talking about racism, discrimination, and all that. They talk about the inner motivations, and that's it. And it says, put on the new personality, cultivate the fruit of the Spirit versus the fruit of the flesh, and apply the law of the golden rule, and tells you what the greatest commandments are. You must love your God with your whole heart, your whole soul, and you must love your neighbor as you love yourself. It doesn't tell you who your neighbor is, but Jesus said your neighbor, he gave the example of the Good Samaritan because he wanted to teach the Jewish who their neighbor was. The Good Samaritan was a Samaritan, and the person he helped was a Jew who's supposed to be more righteous. Nobody helped that Jew from his own race. So the Samaritan who they was looked down on is the one who helped them. So Jesus said, now, tell me who your neighbor is. Jesus is not about to dissect the mind of somebody who wants to be racist in order to help them. He says, no, I'm going to go straight to your motivations. Please let go of the spirit of competition, coveting, envy, strife, lies, slander. The problem is, to create Tulsa, the Holocaust, slavery, people had to say a lot of things to make it possible. So they said, we're going to say this, we're going to say that, we're going to say this, we're going to say this, we're going to say this, we're going to say that, and we're going to say, people had to say a lot of things. But as I see that people have said a lot of things to do this to me, said a lot of things, the Bible makes it clear what the motivation is. I'm not the first victim. I'm not going to be the last. But the Bible tells us we're in the last days and we see world conditions declining. We see the earth declining. We see economy declining. We see the love of the greater number has gone cold because no one is being punished for their actions, so nobody cares about anybody. But that's called living in the last days. It might get a little better, but the Bible says once they say peace and security, then sudden destruction will befall them. Why in the world would Jehovah bring about destruction when human beings are going to say peace and security? Maybe because people have hidden sweatshops all over the place, turning up people's heat, changing people's hair and texture, and vandalizing people. But they have peace and security. Maybe Jehovah says that's hypocrisy. The Bible says, let us put away these childish mentalities and move to solid food. And Paul said, when I was a child, I thought like a child, but now I am a man. But the solid food belongs to people who are spiritually mature. Jehovah's Witnesses offer home Bible studies to individuals interested in learning about the Bible, those who are moaning and groaning about the conditions of the world. I invite you to join us and learn about the true God and how He wants us to live and love one another, and about the paradise earth that He wants to establish on earth, because things are fast declining and we're approaching Jehovah's great day. Now is the time to study the Bible and to change our heart conditions and change our personality and put on the Christ, because we are at the moment of goodwill with God. And now is the time to do it. The Bible talks about the sons of Kora because Kora was rebelling against Moses, and he felt that he had the right to do what the Levites were doing, even though he was not of that line. And I may have the story wrong, but he was rebelling against Moses because he wanted to be able to speak. He wanted to be able, but Moses spoke to Jehovah. And Moses said, who is with Kora? Even the sons of Kora saved their lives because they walked away from what their father was doing. So I invite you all to study the Bible with Jehovah's Witnesses and learn the truth. Thank you.